everyone. Thanks for tuning in to You Had Me at Black. This week, Jazz from Oakland tells us about the time when at 10 years old, she and her cousins accidentally set an apartment complex on fire. Stay tuned to hear more. It's literally lit.
I want you to breathe all this in, breathe all this in.
This is You Had Me at Black, the podcast where black millennials tell true life stories.
So when I was 10 years old, I was thoroughly obsessed with anything that had to do with witchcraft, airbending, like controlling the elements and fire. And because of this fascination with spells and mastering the elements and storm and anything superhero, I played with fire a lot. I was a complete pyro. I can't tell you how many things I sat on fire in my room without my mother knowing. And so one day, I went to my cousin's house. I lived in Fairfield, which was about 30 minutes outside of Oakland, so a little small suburb. Anytime my mother had to work on the weekends, I always had to go to my Auntie B's house. Shag carpets, an orange velour couch, and nothing to play with. Bored out of your mind. She had basic channels, no cable. And so one day my cousins came over, two of my cousins, Renisha and Riashane. And my cousins were super spoiled. I mean, they could do anything and they would never get in trouble. And so one day we were hanging out in the living room and my cousin was like, let's go outside. So we go outside and these teenagers are smoking in front of my cousin's apartment. And so they leave a book of matches sitting there and they get up and they walk off. And my cousin, she grabs the matches and she's like, we should create a potion and like make a little campfire and tell stories like The Craft. There's a scene in The Craft where all the girls are sitting around the fire on the beach and they say this little chant, light as a feather, stiff as a board, light as a feather, stiff as a board, and they activate all their magic powers. So we are determined to reenact in East Oakland on a summer day at 1 o'clock in a dry grass field this episode of The Craft. So we get the matches and then we pile up all these leaves and we strike the matches, and none of us know how to strike matches. Even though I was a pyro, I would usually just take paper and burn it on a candlestick or something like that. Or my dad will often have lighters to burn his incense in the bathroom. So like there's a whole incense kit in the bathroom. So playing with the matches and we're trying to strike the matches. My cousin Renisha, every time she strikes a match, the wind blows it out. So then Riashane tries and she keeps burning out the matches. She's burning her finger, burning her thumb. So I was like, let me do it. And there's one match left. And I flick the match and the fire starts. So we're sitting out there and we're trying to do the light as a feather, stiff as a board, light as a feather, stiff as a board. And nothing happens. And an Asian lady next door starts yelling, you kids, you get from over there, you kids. So we're scared because we're not supposed to be outside, and two, we're playing with fire. So we go in the house, sitting there watching TV like nothing ever happened, and we smell like a lot of smoke. It almost smells like someone is barbecuing. So we go outside. When we open the door, there's a cloud of smoke coming towards the apartment. So we go back in the apartment and we sit there and we're waiting. And we're watching TV, and next thing we know, we hear a knock on the door. And so my aunt is in the back, asleep. Someone's banging on the door, and it's bang, 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 bang. Open the door. It's the fire department. Open the door. My aunt doesn't hear the knocking, so we just sit there and we don't open the door. We don't say anything. So by this time, we're super nervous. We think that we're going to get in trouble, and my cousin is, like, starting to cry. And so we're talking to each other. I'm like, no matter what, if somebody finds out, we're going to deny it. So we've already made a pact to deny it. 5 minutes later, we hear another knock on the door. Bang, 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 bang. Open the door. It's the Oakland Police Department. Open the door. So now we're hella scared. My cousins, they run to the back of the apartment to my older cousin's room, and they go in there. I'm running after them, and they close the door, and they lock me out. So I'm banging on the door, asking them to open the door. They don't open the door, and I'm sitting there, and I'm in the hallway freaking out. I'm super scared. So my aunt comes out. She answers the door, and the police, they're like, there's a fire. The apartment complex next to you is on fire. We need everybody to evacuate the building. So we all come out, we evacuate the building, we go to the front, the fire department, they're trying to put the fire out, and we're sitting there and we're hiding behind my aunt. Miss Lee, the Asian woman, she comes outside, like she's pointing at us, she's trying to tell everybody it's the kids over there, but nobody can understand what she's saying, and so we kind of like creep more behind my aunt so they can't see who she's talking about. So everything's clear. We go inside, we sit there, and we're like, whew, we feel like we dodged a bullet. So my aunt goes back in the bag, she goes to sleep, and then my dad comes. Now, my dad is 5'11", nothing but muscle. He's a bodybuilder. He's about 200 and something pounds, super lean, real scary guy. So my dad comes in, and he wakes up my aunt. He's like, Beatrice, did you know somebody set the apartment complex next door on fire? Miss Lee said it was a bunch of kids playing outside and that they set the building on fire. And so him and my aunt gets to talking about how they think it's the kids upstairs because the kids upstairs are always doing things. And then my dad stops talking to my aunt goes to the back, and so we think we're in the clear. And then my Uncle Charles wakes up. He's a chain smoker, and he's like, anybody see my matches? Who took my matches? Anybody see my matches? So we're freaking out. My cousin Riashane, she's the youngest, she starts to cry. She's crying, freaking out. I'm trying to tell her, shut up, like stop crying, you're gonna get us in trouble, stop being a punk. So my dad comes in the living room and he's like, did you guys see your Uncle Charles's matches? Like, no, we didn't see the matches. I'm the first one to speak. No, we didn't see any matches. So my dad looks at us, he goes to the back, he comes out, he goes outside. I don't know what he's doing. He comes back and he has Miss Lee at the door. We can't really make out what he's saying, but Miss Lee is like nodding her head up and down and pointing at us. So my dad comes back in, goes to talk to my aunt, and my auntie calls my cousins Renisha and Riashane. Renisha, Riashane, get your ass back here, get in the back. So they go to the back, and my dad's talking to me, and he's like, did you see the matches? Did you touch your Uncle Charles' matches? And I'm straight face, no, I didn't touch the matches. So my cousins come back, and they're crying, and I don't know what exactly happened to them. Then my dad asks us all again, like, who touched the matches? Did anybody see the matches? Of course, I deny it. No, I didn't touch the matches. My cousins, they're like all shaking and scared. So they just nod their head no, and they're crying. And he's like, well, if you didn't touch the matches, why are you crying? And I said, I don't know, Dad, but we didn't touch the matches. My dad goes to the back, and then he comes back. When he came out, he had the belt behind him. He went to the back to get the belt. And he says, let me see your hands. So Riashane, the youngest, she goes first. She put her hands out. He smells her hand. I still don't know what he's doing. He goes to Renisha. She puts her hands out, and he smells her hand. Then he comes to me, and he smells my hand. And then immediately he whips the belt from behind his back, picks me up off the floor. He has me hanging in the air. He grabbed me by my ankles, and he's whooping my ass. I'm crying, don't you ever lie, touching matches. I don't know what he said. It all sounds like a rant of curse words. And he puts us down, and he asks me again, so did you touch the matches? Of course, by this time I'm crying. I'm like, yes, I touched the matches. We were playing with the matches, and we set the apartment building on fire. So my dad, he lectures us about how somebody could have died, could have burnt down all the complexes. And then he goes to the back, and my cousins, they're laughing. They're like snickering and laughing the whole time. I'm mad at them because we made a pact that if they had any inkling it was us, then everybody would deny it. And my cousins, when I asked them, like, why'd you tell on me? They were like, well, we knew nothing was going to happen to us, and you would get in trouble, like you would get a whooping. They just told on me, and my dad whooped my butt. To this day, I don't play with matches. I don't play with matches. And for a long time, I was super upset with my cousins. Like, I didn't talk to them. I never wanted to go to my aunt's house again. Like, they were two cousins that I hated because they told on me when I set the apartment building on fire.
Thanks for listening. If you like what you hear, visit youhadmeatblack.com/review to leave a review and subscribe.